Welcome to Legacy Cast, your source for hearing from top influencers, industry experts, and successful business owners who are telling their unique story about life, values, goals, business strategies, and the various causes they are so passionate about. Future generations will come to be impacted by what is happening today, whether positive or negative, and our mission is to focus on what is going to affect change for the better. Hosted each weekday by James Snow, a former U.S. Army combat medic, now founder and principal advisor of James Advisors Group, a full-service financial planning firm in North Texas. This is Legacy Cast. Welcome, Legacy Cast listeners. This is your host, James Snow, and we're coming to you today. I have a very special guest with me today. I have Amanda Fitzpatrick, and she is a realtor, and she does a lot of other things, and really gives back to the veteran community in many ways, and also is also from the military background herself. So I'd like to welcome Amanda to the program.
Thank you very much. I'm so excited to be here.
So you were talking about you do the give back. Can you tell me a little bit more?
Yeah. So I originally started out in real estate about 10 years ago, more for my own personal long-term financial gain. And what I realized is that there is a large amount of gain to be had by many people. You don't have to be selfish with it. So I started donating proceeds from my real estate commissions to veterans in different capacities. Sometimes meals, sometimes assistance with housing, getting housing. There's a wonderful program called VASH from Veterans Affairs that provides supportive housing, which is basically therapy and housing. It's a wonderful benefit. I refer quite a few people to it. So it was a multitude of ways. And so what's really exciting is in the last month, I have made the transition to a different company. I was with Keller Williams, and now I've moved to Platinum Realty out of Kansas City. And with that, I basically gained an additional 30% of my commissions to make a difference with veterans. And so next year, my goal is to get more hunting and fishing trips because I've seen how therapeutic being outdoors can be. I've actually had a veteran who, after Iraq, left and became a fishing guide in North Dakota because he couldn't handle being around, the everyday hustle and bustle of life. It was affecting his PTSD too much. So you can see those kind of examples. And so I just kind of want to spread that love around. And so now I have an additional 30% of my commission to go ahead and do that with. So next year is going to be a really wonderful year. I've already got some kind of measurements planned and hiking trips and things of that nature, just to kind of give back to the community that's given so much to me as a veteran.
That's great. Now, when you think about legacy, that's obviously the topic of the program here. How's that fitting into when you think of legacy? How is this fitting into that picture?
So what I do is I think long term, because this isn't just about me. It's about generations to come, and kind of being that Veterans Day just came and went. You kind of think about the fact that as veterans, we're generational. We're not going to be the only ones that are going to be this way. We have it all the way back to World War I, and these guys have passed, and their legacy is still alive. So that's why I started the nonprofit in hopes that I can build a board that has younger veterans, so we can continue this mission, continue to give back. It's not just about me; it's about everyone who comes after me as well, and before. Because I've seen wonderful things with Vietnam veterans that we've done as well, dealing with things that they've never talked about. So it's kind of a long-term goal. And one of the things that we're doing with that is buying 80 acres in southern Oklahoma for hunting and fishing trips. So it'll be a place of sanctuary for the veterans. It will have hiking trails kind of in it. And then hopefully we'll be able to, we've talked to the neighbors, and hopefully we'll be able to get more land over time, and that they will either donate or reduce the price of that land so that this can go on and be a great legacy, not just for myself, but for other veterans.
So do you feel that it's important that everyone actively consider what they're doing to create their own legacy in their process?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because life is incredibly short, and that's one thing I learned in the military is you never know when your life could end. And for it to go on and pass on to your children and to generations after that, it's an amazing thing. And that's kind of the important part, because we are just moments on this earth. This earth will continue, and hopefully we can make an impression that's going to last.
So how do your views on legacy affect your plans as far as business and things of that sort?
So the way that I see it, it's long term. I do a little bit of short game planning, but most of my planning is long term, because legacies aren't built overnight. These things are going to continue, and so I do my best to do what I call it the long game. I make sure that it's not just going to be temporary, that there's funding sources to come for very many years. And that's kind of where I see it. But I'm always open to other people's opinions about it, because, we only know what we know, and I only know what I know, and people have different opinions about it. So I'd love to hear what you think about how to make that legacy last. What's your opinion on
it? In what regard?
So, if I'm building this legacy for many years to come, what is your opinion on how to sustain and keep a lasting legacy? How is that created, in your opinion?
Well, the way that I approach legacy is, everything is sort of a story, and you're wanting to pass that story forwards. And so it's really handled from a financial approach, and people need to create strategies that are going to be put into place so that they can basically take things from one generation to the next generation.
Okay, and hopefully I can do that. That's one thing that we're kind of working on, but being a market person with real estate, I'm kind of getting concerned, because we've gone so good for so long and we haven't had a reset yet. So that's what we're currently financially planning for, is, possibly a market downturn, because eventually it will come back up, but we need to be able to weather the storm in the meantime, because, the nonprofit that I have is basically primarily funded by commissions. So if commissions go down, that means we can't do as much. So that's why we're looking for longer term sources, long term donors, things of that nature.
Sure. So as a CEO and entrepreneur, what would be maybe a couple things that keep you up at night when you're thinking about those things?
Planning, constant planning, not knowing. I think the thing, I kind of brought it up, but I think the market is what concerns me the most at this point, because we have gone so good for so long. Since 2008, we've been going up and up and up and up, and we've seen that market semi readjust in the last 2 months. But in the housing market, it hasn't hit us quite yet as it has the stock market. So the things that keep me up literally are financials. And I've been that way for a very long time. My staff thinks I'm crazy because I have everything in an Excel spreadsheet, which is very old school. But I account, and I learned this from, this is so funny, but I learned this from an old boss of mine who I went on deployment with, and he had an Excel spreadsheet for every month since the day he graduated high school. Every penny, every financial budgeting at its finest. And so I kind of learned from him because you lose track of how much you're spending if you're not tracking it. And I know bank accounts, that's easy to do, but say you can see financially where we're maybe going wrong, what we're overspending on, where we could reduce that budget. So financials is basically what keeps us at night. It's not the drive or the passion. Vets have a lot of that. And the love that I get from everything that we do is what kind of sustains me, because there's so much thankfulness for what's going on with kind of giving back to these veterans.
Sure.
I had a fishing guide that did a trip, and a veteran thanked him, and he said, "I just want to tell you the only reason I didn't have a gun in my mouth today was because we went fishing." And that is the moment that the buck hits the road. If we didn't do this, we wouldn't be making a difference. And it's incredibly important because these people gave so much for us that to give back to them and give them some sort of normalcy is kind of our goal. But at the end of the day, financials keep me up, and the mission is what keeps me going.
Yeah, and you have a very, very important mission that you're doing. So I certainly encourage to continue on that one.
Thank you. I mean, the return that we get is beyond any investment that we could ever put in this. It just makes a huge difference. So if we can expand and grow this and keep this going. And I'm not going to lie, there are a lot of organizations like ours across the country. We're located in Oklahoma, and that's kind of where our focus is. But it's not just my organization. Any organization that's going to get out there, get off the beaten path with vets and make a difference in their lives is incredibly important.
Yeah, that's true. So do you believe it's important that people create some sort of business plan and other strategies within their business?
Yes. So one of the things that I did when I started this nonprofit, because I actually started it in 2014, is I got with a SCORE mentor to help me do the business plan. And it's made a tremendous difference in how we operate. Mentorship and getting a plan together was probably the hardest part. And those things change over time. So, I've been in business for over 15 years now. And what I thought, through my formal education in my bachelor's, in 2004 is completely different than how I run my business now. 2018, we are completely ridden with social media and those planning things. And what's funny is part of my business plan is my social plan. And that just seems crazy to me sometimes, that I have to plan for social media. It's part of what keeps us relevant. And so that's one aspect of our business plan. And that's really what got us to where we are today, because we have a 3-home site in Wewoka, Oklahoma, that is with the VASH program. And then we also have the 80 acres that we're doing in Wynnewood. And we wouldn't have been able to accomplish that without a solid plan to accomplish this.
That's very true. Yeah, a lot of people think that they can kind of wing it and so forth, and it scares me.
And there are days where I call it "fake it till you make it," because we used to do that in the military too. But that has an expiration. So you really, and it doesn't always have to be pen and paper. I see a lot of people, there's a lot of oil and gas in Oklahoma, and Love's is one of the examples. They started out as a mom and pop shop. And some of the things that they're doing now is their entire office is of whiteboards and windows. And that's where they're doing all their business planning, because it changes that frequently. It's not something they put into a document because it's so fluid for them, which is very inspirational. I'm more of a document person, but
I'm too.
But there are different methods to the madness. And for one thing, you have to have it down somewhere, because if not, it's only in your head and no one else is catching it.
Right. I like to look at it sort of like a roadmap. When you're going on vacation, and you have to know where you're starting and where you're going to end up, and so if you don't have that map, you really don't know where you're gonna run.
Yes, or where you're going to lie your head down to sleep.
Sure. So what do you think the most common reason entrepreneurs fail or simply give up is?
So I think that most entrepreneurs feel that it's going to be easy. Oh, this is so great. I have my own free time. Da, da, da. No, I work until I close my eyes and go to bed. I break all the rules. I have laptops in bed sometimes. It's a never ending kind of thing. And I think that sadly also, that's one thing, that I've seen from being overseas and then being here. I went to Spain last year, and I loved it because it's so calm. Just everything is very calm. And here who's got my cell phone? Oh my God, that ding. People are having ADD over cell phones going off. We have that kind of as an American culture, that never ending like business mentality, and I want to say consumerism too, because people feel that because they're my client, they can text me at 9:54 at night, and I'm going to check out that house. No, I'm going to close my eyes and go to bed, and I'll deal with it in the morning. It may be 6 o'clock in the morning when I deal with it, but so I think that's kind of the problem that newer entrepreneurs have, is the understanding that you're going to put in the hours so long term, it's worth it. The joy that I get from what I do, and this is something I've been building since real estate wise since 2006. It's very rewarding, and within the next 2 years, some of the seeds that I've planted are going to be blooming, and so I will have 2 houses that will be completely paid off and will be basic income for me at that point. And that's what I think they forget, is that it's not just a short-term instantaneous gratification. It's a long-term. You plant your seeds, you water them, they grow, and then at some point you get, the fruit. And granted, it's 2018, and these are seeds I planted in 2006, but they're seeds that are going to fulfill my retirement goals. And that's kind of what I think gets lost in the younger entrepreneurs, is that like building a legacy, it's not overnight. Nothing is overnight. There might be 15 minutes of fame, but when you're building something, it's going to be long term. And I want the pyramid. I don't want, something that's going to burn down tomorrow.
That's for sure. Yeah, I agree with you. So what would be maybe some roadblocks and resources that you would advise people to look out for and to take advantage of?
So the shift in the market, be prepared for that. Be looking for it, because it's a long and short-term game. So my view with it is I hold. So I hold my assets. And I went down before with real estate assets. On my 2 properties in Texas, I lost over $100,000 in value. And that just came back within the last 4 or 5 years. So learn from your mistakes. Hold when things are starting to go down. Don't keep investing into something that's going down. Hold your money and then wait for it to hit the bottom or near the bottom. Invest and let it grow. That's how I've done my money on 2 of the properties that I have in Texas, is doing that. And yes, I got a little bit high at the time. I was young. I was 23 years old. I counted, and more than which just everybody told me I was crazy. And I've held on to those things. And over the rest of my retirement, those 2 houses will bring me about $350,000 a piece in return beyond what I've been getting the last 10 years. So be smart about your investments, learn from other people, watch for those shifts. Don't just let them pass you by, or don't let them run you over, because they will run you over if you're not careful, and if you're not ready. So hold at the right times, and take advice of other people. Get a mentor. Get involved with people who have been down the same road as you, and share your experiences, because somebody else has gone through this before you, and you can learn from them.
Yeah, I agree. And I love that you brought up mentors, because that's something that everyone needs a mentor. And it's something I'm very passionate about as well.
You cannot do this alone. You are not, and we're all special. We really are. We're all created individually, but you're not special in the fact that you're going to do this by yourself.
Right.
Like that's the fact. You're always going to have pillars that are going to lift you up and help you, and mentoring is one of those things. And I wouldn't be where I am today if I didn't have that I have. It's incredibly funny. One of my real estate mentors, and I was only with him for about a year and a half. He probably doesn't know my life, but he has his own HGTV show. I don't know anymore. He has his own HGTV person. He was even on what is his silly show that he used to have? You're Fired. I forget it. But anyway, Clint Robertson, his ethics, his mentorship, the way that he viewed real estate, investments, fourplexes, the relationship and network building that I saw from him while I was in his office and under his brokerage changed my life. He's the reason I got my first rental property. I was 23 years old. Whoever would have thought a 23-year-old would be buying her own house and a rental property? I thought I was in over my head, but he's like, Amanda, you're in the right position. He laid it all out for me, showed me the financial math, and it made a big difference in my life. And now he's ridden the shift, and now he's doing a show on flipping on HGTV. And he's in I don't even know where he's at now, but he's in a completely different state, doing the same things that we kind of used to do in Dallas before the market tanked. And so it just goes to show that knowledge is going to stay with you, and it's going to help you survive the downturn. Because in Texas, that bubble is ugly, very ugly. But we all survived, and we're doing, in our own right. I'm not doing as well as he is, but in my own right, I'm doing very well. There are very few individuals of my age that have 5 houses that are nearly paid off. I'll be paid off within the next 2 years. And that goal to be a millionaire by the time I was, 35 happened. And it didn't happen overnight. And it didn't, it took time. It took building, planting seeds, listening to other people, making my own mistakes, because mistakes have been had. I was in the negative over $100,000. That, and that's just value. That's not even a real number. So kind of fine with it, doing your own thing, and enjoying your mistakes. because it's going to happen. But understanding that it's helping you grow, which is, I'm at a place that I never thought I'd be. It was a goal, and I achieved it. And that's why I can, at this point in my life, go back and get a PhD in clinical psychology so I can continue to help other people. I wouldn't have been able to do it before. When I was really young, when I started school, I thought that's what I was going to do. But financially, it wasn't feasible. But now it is. So just kind of stay with it. Keep going. Because there is the suck. It just happens. But there are good times too. And they're to be had for everyone.
Yeah, it's amazing. So how would you say that your personal values and your belief systems play a role into what you do in business, and how would you advise people to incorporate that?
So you've got to stay true to yourself. My values are a big part of who I am. Part of them were ingrained in me with the military and with my family. But if you stay true to those, you're going to be successful and integrate them into your business. And I do that. I mean, you can see that I live my passion. So I do real estate. My commissions go partly to my passion. And Keller Williams kind of calls it the life worth living. So I'm doing what is passionate to me. It shows in my business. And the greatest way it shows in my business is that I don't advertise. I never have. I strictly work by referral of my clients. So I treat my clients with kindness. I show them the values that I have. And they enjoy referring people to me because they know that it's going to be giving back to those that are in community. So if you do it the right way, and granted, I have bad days. I'm a little, that happens. But these people accept me for who I am because, one, they're my friends, and two, by referral, they know what I'm going to accomplish for them. I will work all night long on that deal. I will work on deals that never go through because in the end, it's about finding a home for my client and making them happy, whether it's their own home, whether it's a commercial property, whether it's an investment property. And what I do is integrate, the experiences I've had, and I teach them lessons because somebody taught me, and I wouldn't be where I am today without it. So I want to do the same thing. I'm not that greedy real estate agent that does it just for the commission. Because that, at the end of the day, doesn't make me happy. Money is great, but the return that I get from my clients, the referrals, and then what we do for the veterans is really where it comes out for me. And that all stems back to my belief system and my values.
Yep. So what's something that you might have wished you had done earlier in life that you did not do?
I don't know. I'm going to say I'm 35 years old and I've done a lot. I've, gone to foreign countries. There's nothing I really regret. The only thing that I would say I regret is maybe being a little too passionate and headstrong when I was younger. But otherwise, I've done and exceeded my goals and the things that make me happy. I have a very wonderful life, very blessed life, and I'm incredibly thankful. So not much on this end. That's kind of lame, but that's kind of where I'm at. I really enjoy and where I've come from.
So I'd like to focus a little bit more on a personal level. And
Okay.
What hurdles did you personally face when transitioning from the service?
Well, I transitioned after back-to-back deployments. And it was more the deployment aspect that I was having issues with. I had and it's hard to. I think the easiest way to explain it, and I was talking to a colonel that's trying to exit, but he made full bird, and he's like, "Well, I got another 4 years." But it's that fact that when we deploy, life goes on back in the States, and for us, it's like this. It just stops. It's very hard to describe because when you come back, everything has progressed forward. Music, the way people look, the way people feel, the sentiment of the nation, that's all kind of like skyrocketed into the future. And here you are back in 2011, 2012, and it's 2013, it's 2014, and you have a hard time catching up with everything that's happened. New apps that everybody's addicted to, new feelings. Oh, they hate this person, they like this person. Someone who was great is now terrible. I think that's what I struggled with most, was just kind of that readjustment of getting back into the everyday hustle and bustle. And we were constantly going on deployment. So the one feedback that I get to this day, a conversation I had with my dad last week, Amanda, you've got to slow down. Like, you've got to enjoy them, the roses. And I'm like, ooh, I can't. I'm so addicted to that, So that was kind of my hardest readjustment, is just kind of that life progressed forward. And then also you're trying to catch up, which I think is why I have this, this go, go, go mentality. And we all have different struggles. You know what I mean? Some people struggle with things that they saw when they were over there. Some people don't have that adjustment issue. Some people have adjustment issues with their kids. I know a lot of my male friends had a really hard time readjusting with their daughters when they got back, because their daughters had grown, had gone through puberty, had emotional changes that they weren't expecting. And so that was kind of a concern to them.
So as far as coming across the solutions, was it obvious, or did you stumble on?
Oh no, it was a long stumble. Oh shoot. Okay, hold on. My battery just died on my computer. Let me go grab a plug. Hold on. Seal. Okay. My apologies.
No worries.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, don't see you.
Are we good? Can't tell. You got me? I can
Yep.
see you and hear you.
I don't see you, but yeah, I can still hear you. That's fine.
I
So
wonder
when
if
you were,
oh, there
I'm
you
sorry?
are. Okay. No, I can hear you now.
Okay. So when you're starting your business, how did you get started, and maybe talk me through some of that?
So volunteering and share these first. And I was recruited by a broker who said, hey, you want to move to Fort Worth? Because that's where I was living in Abilene, working as GS. I reserved duty weekends in Fort Worth. So I made a rash decision to go to career fields at that point because I was a teaching guys to Iraq and Afghanistan. And I started selling real estate and being an office manager in Fort Worth. That's when the times were still good. So we were selling a lot and making a lot of money. But that was it was an easy transition for me. I basically got recruited. Everywhere I've ever moved, I've been recruited, whether in the military or civilian.
No, you're cutting out pretty bad there. You still there?
Exactly. You want me to go back in?
Yeah, we got a really bad signal.
Okay, let me try going back.
I can see you pretty good there. Hello? Did you want to do like a redo? We're not at the hospital?
Okay. Can you hear me better now? Okay. Change the locations again.
Yep.
Welcome to my life.
So is there a particular profession that you
the clinical
have thought
psychology
about
is
doing
the
that
other
you're
aspect
not doing currently?
that I'm not currently doing, but will be doing in the next 5 years. And it's always been my passion. I actually started out in psychology in my bachelor's. And so I am currently, on top of everything else, currently pursuing a PhD in clinical psychology. So it's not something that's completely on the back burner. It's just on the back burner until I can get all my
Sure, sure.
credentials.
So what would you say is
The
your greatest
unwillingness
character
to quit,
trait?
and sometimes not knowing. Sometimes it's okay to quit, and I think that's where I'm still working on myself to this day. Is that I sometimes don't know when to just let it go, let it die, because that's kind of the cycle of everything. There are things that are going to be good for a while, and then they're not going to be good anymore, and it's okay to let those things go. So it's a strength and a weakness. Probably.
Yeah.
Probably
That
just
was
what
my
I
second
said.
question
So,
is what is your greatest weakness?
not knowing when to let go. The other one that I always say, and this is only because of the environment, but having a big heart and being willing to give, because sometimes people take advantage of that. And it happens kind of in our nonprofit realm quite frequently. Everybody wants something for nothing. And that's one thing I kind of ask of our veterans, that if they come with us and if they take a trip, if they're ever able to give a trip to somebody else, I ask that they do that. So take and give back, kind of the way that I do it, because I think that that's the best way to forward on that legacy that we talked about.
Yep. So where do you go to get your ideas?
Some people listen to
Gary,
and I'm one of those people.
Go to the gym, whatever.
Because he's the person we all want to be. Do you know what I mean? He just lays it out there. Doesn't care what anybody thinks or says, kind of does his own thing. And I think that's admirable, because in a society that sometimes criticizes you for being different, he just does it, lays it all on the line. And he's very successful because of it. He's followed his passion. So that's one of my ways. The other way is that I take my dogs for walks and runs. Because at that point, that's the one thing. That was another kind of coping mechanism that I had, because I did it when I was deployed too. Working out's always been a mind-freeing thing for me. So I normally will take my dogs out because they don't talk back. They're just there having a good time, wanting to be, played with and cuddled with. So that's my second, just kind of taking them. I live by a lake, so I take them around the lake and walk them both. And they're both very different creatures. One's extremely excitable, and the other one's like 80 years old, in dog years, of course. But it's kind of my peace. And at that point, things just make more sense. And the other thing, so like kind of my 3 tiers, is sleep. And a lot of people forget about that. But statistically, it's proven that it makes a difference in all aspects of your life. And I normally tell my clients, because I find that I get less regret on big decisions, like the largest financial decision you'll ever make, is to sleep on it. And if I have something that's really bothering me, it's really in my gut or in my heart or in my head, I sleep on it. And then I come back and I sleep on it. And then in the morning, I don't know what it is, but I have this like sense of calm with it because I vegetate on my decision. And then I know what I'm going to do, and I go and I act on it. And then if it's the wrong thing, I'll deal with the consequences. But at least I know that that was my best decision at that point.
So as we wind up our episode here, I have a final question where if you can tell me something about you that most people don't know.
I'm kind of a loudmouth open book. Let's see. Oh, okay. So my brother, everyone just thinks he's, like my brother. It's no big deal. He is 18 years older than I am. I'm definitely the baby. And he is currently, sadly, in a coma. And he's been a true inspiration because we've all learned a lot about him since he's gotten sick, and we've bonded over it, and he's really kind of brought our family together. And some people know about that with me, but most don't know because it's personal. But the one thing that we've learned from this experience is that it has definitely brought our family closer. And that's one thing I think he would be really proud of is, during his weakest time, we were all there for him, and we all wanted the best thing for him. So it's been kind of a blessing in disguise. The same way funerals kind of bring people together. When somebody gets sick, it's kind of the same thing. But he's been a huge blessing to our family over the last year. And so we're just praying for healing and rest. Yeah. So one thing that not a lot of people know. Yeah. It's a big, and that's the other reason I don't really talk about it with people, because people have this awkwardness around being sick and death. But I find it I find it's a wonderful time too, because you get to reflect on, like when my grandma passed away, she was 99 years old. You get to reflect on the beauty that was their life and all the relationships that they built and the love that they had for other people, the things that they accomplished. You learn so much about people when you have the least amount of time left with them. So it's a blessing, and it's, it's life. So we're born and we die. And that's what I always want for my life too. And that's kind of where you get the legacy, is that, the things that you've done are going to surpass your life. And after he's gone, the good things that he's done will continue to go on. So I am
So how
with
can people
Platinum
be able to
Realty,
get a hold of you?
Amanda Fitzpatrick, moved with Platinum. You can also, my personal email address is ajfitz@live.com, or you guys can call or text me at 405-314-7232. And at any time, love to chat, love to mentor, love to be a part of the mentor group. And then if you just have any questions about real estate, let me know. And if you're in the Oklahoma area and you want to come down and help us with, it's called the American Ranch, you can do that and help our veterans out. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Thank you very much.
Okay.
And I appreciate everything
Sounds like
you're
a
doing.
great thing to do.
The legacy is
I've
important,
enjoyed it.
and I'm so thankful that you were able to have me on today. And thank you so much for putting up with my technical difficulties.
Oh, no
Thank
worries.
you very much.
No
Have a
worries.
good day.
As I always say, I'll see you around the bend, my friend. You've been listening to Legacy Cast. Thank you for joining us today, and be sure to come back next time as we speak with more top influencers, industry experts, and business owners from around the world.